actually checking out the Phantom version 3. And I'm super excited to check this engine out. They had a couple other versions that had a couple issues, and I think they got everything figured out on this one. So stay tuned, because we're going to go all over the ins and outs, everything you need to know about the improvements, about everything going on with this engine kit here. So let's get started. All right, so hey, thank you for stopping by. I feel like I haven't seen you guys in a couple months, so make sure you hit that thumbs up. Leave a comment while you're down there. Let me know what you're working on, what you guys want to see this next year. But like I said, today we have the all-new Phantom 85 version 3. Now, you ask what happened to version 1 and 2. There was a couple little things wrong for the manufacturer in terms of bearings and bushings, and then there was a ring snag problem. This is version 3. Now, today we're going to go ahead and get everything out of the box, go over kind of what you're going to get if you are looking to buy this engine kit for the beginners, for the buyers, see everything they have in the box here. Then we're going to see exactly what differences they did in between this and the last version. I know there's a whole bunch of new work they did on the intake ports. That way it prevents some piston ring snag that was going on. So we're going to see a side-by-side difference of exactly that. And then I'm not waiting. I'm going to go ahead and throw this on a bike. In fact, I got the version 2 Phantom on a bike right now over here. This one has lasted for actually several months now and is still going. So we're going to go ahead and get the new Phantom on a bike right away. That way you guys can see a little bit of everything that you need to know about the new version 3 here. So make sure you go down, check the timestamps, check out everything, and let's go ahead and get right into it. All right, so let's go ahead and get this box open and see what's inside. Now, if you didn't know anything about the other Phantom 85, now this one has a huge 52 millimeter piston, makes it a true 85cc. So right off the bat, I can see this one's boxed up a little different. Looks like they got the exhaust and everything in one box, pretty much. Nice fat Phantom exhaust. Go ahead and set that right to the side there. Big old exhaust port. You can see they've kind of been working on that. So it looks like we have a nice upgraded CDI. Perfect. So here's their new style carb, and this was new for last year here. It does look to be your regular standard half-gallon motorized bike peanut tank. You can see it has pretty decent studs on there. Standard chain guard. Does look like it has the upgraded throttle grips, which is nice. This plastic is a lot stronger than the old style. Some of those old styles, they do actually seem to shatter right at this joint here. So I love these new hard plastic throttles. All right, you do got your red double locking clutch handle there. Just pretty standard. Here is your clutch and your throttle cables all wrapped up together. Here is your housing and everything for the throttle. There's your kill switch, all the wiring you need. All right, so this is nice to see. This is one of the 4-bolt style tensioners. All right, so here is the reed valve and everything that comes with the Phantom 85. So right off the back stock, it does have a reed valve. And I think there might be a couple different reasons why they had to use a reed valve to get this engine running, but it does have a nice fatty reed valve. Exhaust bracket, use those too much. There's the other throttle. Oops, grip. All right, so right off the bat in this box, I do see this nice set of needle bearings. In fact, let me go ahead and get this off. Now, one of the issues with version 1 of the Phantom 85 is it didn't really have, it actually had a brass bushing instead of a set of needle bearings in the connection rod where it connects to the piston. So it looks like on version 3, they went ahead and went with the needle bearings, which I definitely suggested the needle bearing. All right, so let's check out this bad boy here. Perfect. So if you didn't know, the Phantom 85 is actually used off of a YD 100 bottom end here. Okay, perfect. So yeah, it looks like this is a ZMN. You see that? ZMN 100 stamped rod. Don't see any real flaws or anything on the bottom end, but the bottom end really wasn't the issue that was happening. I know they did a lot of work to try to get the connecting rod and everything, all the bushings away, get those needle bearings that we saw before in there properly. So I know they did a lot of research and development of getting that done. But one of the things that was causing a lot of the issues here was ring snag. So the piston rings, let me get this open. Here is your cylinder. Now, if you're thinking this looks familiar, some of your chainsaw guys would actually recognize this is an MS 460 cylinder that they kind of based the Phantom 85 off of. Different. In fact, let me go ahead and go get the other version, the old version. That way we can get a side-by-side comparison of what to look for. All right, perfect. So here, you can see here's version 1, and right off the bat, I see a huge difference in the intake side. So you can see this one's kind of rounded out on the intake side, and that these edges here actually got caught on the piston rings. And you can see on this one, they are a lot smoother. You can really see that difference. This one looks a whole lot cleaner, and I hope that actually fixes a lot of the ring snag, because with this, with the quality control of this one, a little bit all over the place, you can see it's not even on either side. This was getting caught on the piston rings, and in fact, let me go ahead and take these rings off this piston and slide this in. That way you can see exactly what was causing the issue on version 1 and version 2 here. So you can see where that little ring connects right there. That little tiny pin gets caught on that edge. See that on this one, oh yeah, on this one we are nowhere near the piston rings. All right, so perfect. As you can see, they did a whole lot of work on this cylinder to make it work. Even the ports on this one, you can see they're a little rougher than they should be. But on the new one, all that is nice and clean. So hopefully all of the stuff they did to change the Phantom for the version 3 fixes that ring snag and everything that we're going through. In fact, I've had a whole bunch of comments asking, when are we going to see the Phantom 85 on a bike? When are we going to see that thing in action? And don't get me wrong, the Phantom 85 is by far one of the strongest engines, the fastest, most powerful engines you can get stock out of a box. But I've been through 5. In fact, I went through 5 different Phantom 85 engines, and I only have one that's still running. So that's not a good ratio. That's definitely not a good ratio for me to recommend them. So I haven't been able to, you know, do a whole bunch of videos or even recommend these. They're awesome. I love them, but there's no way I was going to recommend them with them blowing up and all the issues. So hopefully version 3, they got everything figured out here. So next step here is I'm going to go ahead and get this engine together. In fact, there's a couple tips and tricks of getting this piston with these rings on intact. So I'm going to go ahead and just get this guy assembled. That way we can see everything ready to go before we get it on a bike. So this old trick is paper towels in there. That way you're not losing your clips. Got the clips, got everything installed, perfectly. Now I'm gonna go ahead and try to get the cylinder on. Now I do know with these rings so large, I do have to take a small flathead screwdriver sometimes just to get them in around the edges. So that's a little tip for you if you're struggling to get the cylinder on. Don't push it down. You'll just snap the ring. So give it a little jiggle, but you're probably going to use a screwdriver to push in that last ring once it's all the way on top. So let's go ahead and get this cylinder on. All right, now before we get started, I like taking a little bit of oil and just putting it on that cylinder and wiping it all around the edges. That way we know everything goes in smoothly. Look at that. So, in place. See that? Looks like those rings are in there, centered. There's no snag on either edge. Does look like that ring snag issue seems to be fixed here. So cool. All right, let's go ahead and get everything screwed down. We're making a mess with my oil. All right, so I got my 14 millimeter here, and I'm going to get these just snug down. Make sure you go ahead and get that, get these all torqued down in a nice even star pattern. That way you're not cracking the cylinder or anything or putting any unusual stress on it. Now that we checked out the inside, now that we saw the issues, now we saw what they fixed, you know what time it is. I'm not messing around. We're going straight. I'm taking this right now and we're putting it on a bike and we're testing it. So I was thinking about putting it on this felt faker here, this flat black felt faker that has a YD100, but I kind of want to really do a side-by-side comparison to see if there's any performance gain or performance loss. So I am going to put the new Phantom 85 V3 on this. This is actually an old Cranbrook with a laid back seat. It does have some chopper dyno deuce forks up front. Decent little setup here. I had to use a universal bracket to get the exhaust to fit. As you can see, there is not much room there. But I'm thinking since this is all ready to go and I know how fast this goes, I'm going to go ahead and get the new one on there. That way we can see exactly if there is a difference in performance and you know what it is. So let's go ahead and get the new Phantom 85 version 3 on this old cranny here. Chain, good, gas, good. All right, if you're ready, let's go ahead and take this for a spin. Let's do it. You ready? Let's do it right now. Right now. Right now. All right, so as you can see, we have the Phantom 85 version 3 all set up, ready to go on this bike, ready for our first start here. I'm super excited. Now, it is really cold. It's about 0 degrees here in Illinois, literally 100-degree difference from last time I tested out this guy. But I'm expecting great things. I do know this engine has an insane amount of power, and as long as it stays running, I'm good to go. So let's go ahead and just fire it up, take it for a spin. So let's go ahead. I got the choke on. Everything's wired up, hopefully. See, we're about to find out in a couple seconds. All right, I'm using the manufacturer suggested 20 to 1, actually 20 to 1 on this guy for break-in. It says at least 300 miles. All right, let me just ride. Everything looks good here. Let's see if she'll fire up. Oh, she did. All right, here it goes. And she goes. Yeah, all right. Listen to this baby burr. Too much gas, but man, yes. Look at this. Now, right about here is where some of the other ones destroyed, detonated, blew up. And the fact that it's still going, yeah, it lives. It lives. Listen to that. All right. I can already tell this one sounds way better. Better than the other version. Smooth, there's no rattle. All right. I know I'm going to turn up the idle here. Yeah, all right. Listen to that baby go. Honestly, I can already tell that from the sounds, it sounds way better than the other versions, all other five engines I've got. This one actually does sound way better, and you can see that's a little motorcycle. That's a little motorcycle. All right, so yes, Phantom 85 V3 is the final one. Honestly, I'm thinking third time's a charm. You know that old third time, 3 times? Listen to that monster go. All right, guys, make sure you comment, like, and subscribe down below, and I will see you guys on the next episode of Motorized.